Hi family, thank you so much for joining me on Golden Soul Food Kitchen today. I have a really awesome recipe for you guys today. We have our Southern soul food, red beans and rice. And it was one of our most requested dishes on our food trailer. And trust me, if you decide to make this for your family, you will not be disappointed. It is so delicious. And it includes the red beans, sausage, and ham, and all of the seasonings. So without further ado, let's get into the recipe. We are starting out with our rinsed and soaked beans. I soaked them overnight. Some people like to do the parboil method, but for me, they cook better when they soak overnight. So we will start here with the soaked in rinsed beans, and the next step will be me putting them in the pot and adding water. The brand of beans that I'm using today are the Hearty ham beans brand, and they are the Cajun red beans. I usually use China Doll brand, but they didn't have any in the store when I purchased these, so I just went ahead and picked these up. It also came with a packet of Cajun seasoning, which I'm not sure I'm going to be using because I like to season my red beans and rice my way, but we'll see. The seasonings I'm starting with are the I can never say that word right, Tony Chackers Creole seasoning, the onion powder, garlic powder, and garlic pepper, and a little bit of Lowry's seasoning. If I decide to add anything else, I will let you guys know, but so far this is what I'm starting with. I've added my beans to the pot and put water in, and I'm going to go ahead and add my seasonings, and then while these beans come to a boil, I will go ahead and dice up my bell peppers and onions. I went ahead and added my seasonings to the beans, and they have been simmering for about 20 minutes now. So I'm going to prepare my sausage, ham, onion, and bell peppers to add to the beans. I'm going to let them continue to simmer while I get everything together. I've already started dicing up the ingredients, but I wanted to show you guys the sausage that I'm using. I am using the Conecuh original. You can also buy the Cajun version, but they didn't have the Cajun kind in the store. And the smoked pork shoulder picnic ham, and sometimes I also use the ham pieces, but again they didn't have it in the store, so I went with what they had. But these work perfectly fine. It's basically the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and dice up the ham. I've already diced up the sausage and the bell peppers and onions, and I will come back when it's ready to add to the pot. I have my diced bell peppers and onions, the diced sausage, and the diced ham. I'm going to go ahead and put it in a skillet with some bacon and fry it all together. I am taking a few pieces of diced bacon and frying them on low. It started on high, but I turned it down so that it wouldn't burn or stick. That's why you see those little brown spots on the skillet. But this is just for flavor only. And you can skip this step if it's not something you want to do, but I do this to add deep, rich flavor to the beans. And it's really good combined with the onions, bell peppers, and the other seasonings. I added the bell peppers and onions first, and I'm going to saute them a little bit and then add the sausage. I went ahead and added the sausage, and I'm going to stir it up and fry it It's on low. And I'm going to let it cook. And I'm going to add my ham after the sausage browns a little bit. Now you can see that the sausage is starting to brown, and I'm going to, you don't want it to get completely done, you want it to get a little brown around the edges, and then you can go ahead and add your ham. I went ahead and added the ham, and I'm going to stir it all up together and let it fry a little bit before adding it to the pot. The beans are simmering, and I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the bell peppers and onions to the pot. I kept a little bit out. Let me go ahead and put it up. I'm going to stir it up and let it continue to simmer. Everything is mixing up really well, and I turned the heat up some so that it could go ahead and brown, and I could add it to my pot. It's almost ready. I am sharing this step with you guys, but you can also skip this step and add your vegetables and meats directly to the pot because it's going to cook anyway. I just like to do this to give it that extra flavor from having the sausage and ham cooked in the bacon with the onions and bell peppers. It creates a deep, savory flavor for the beans. But again, if you want to skip this step, it's up to you. So it is getting close to being ready, and I'm going to go ahead and finish stirring it up, let it brown just a little bit longer, and then I'm going to add it to the pot. I went ahead and added the vegetables, sausage, and ham to the pot, and I'm going to bring it back to a boil. And I also added a little bit more water to cover the meat and vegetables, and I will probably add some more seasonings as well. While it's coming to a boil, I will show you guys. This is so delicious. Well, it's going to be delicious. It is an awesome one-pot meal, and it was one of the favorites for our food trailer. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it to a boil. Then I will taste it to see if I need to add any more seasonings, and I will share that with you guys as well. I brought the pot to a boil, and I did taste it, and it's so delicious. I don't have to add any other seasonings, and I didn't give y'all the measurements because I just sprinkled some in there. With soul food, they call it listening to your ancestors. Your ancestors whisper the right amount of seasonings to put in there. But if I had to give you an amount, I would say about a tablespoon of each season. And make sure you taste it before adding any more after that, because you can make it too salty, especially with the bacon. So I am going to turn this down to simmer, put the top on it, and go ahead and prepare my rice and my cornbread. By the way, I did add a little bit of this seasoning that came in the pack with the beans, and I tasted it on my tongue before adding it. It was a little bit spicy, so I added just a little bit, maybe half a tablespoon, but it's good. If you purchase these same beans, you can go ahead and use this pack of seasoning, but make sure you taste it first. The beans are pretty much done now, and as you can tell, the juice is getting, let me stir it up a little bit. The juice is starting to get really nice and thick. Now, if you don't want your beans to be as juicy as mine are right now, you can always pour some of the water off, or you can add a little bit of cornstarch, and that will thicken it up very nicely. So I am going to turn these off, and I might add just a little bit of cornstarch. If I do decide to do that, I will come back and show you guys the difference. Right now, this is what it's looking like. It is. Since I'm going to turn them off, I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit of cornstarch. I did decide to go ahead and add some starch, and you can already see the difference. It's nice and thick. Now, I live in Florida, so we don't make our red beans and rice the same way they make them in Louisiana or New Orleans. We make ours the deep South way. I came up with this recipe from my mom, and I just added my own touches to it. She was the one that taught me how to make this recipe, and it is so good. My kids love it, but they're adults now. My husband loves it, and it was so good when we made it at the food trailer that people used to call in all the time saying, when are you going to make those red beans and rice again? I typically like to make them during the cold months because who wants to eat beans in the summertime? But we're eating beans today. We have the nice cool AC, so it's going to be perfectly fine. But these are great for the wintertime or the fall because it's similar to chili, that thick, hearty, warm, savory flavor over rice with some cornbread. You can't beat it. And my ancestors definitely did whisper to me today because I didn't have to add any more seasonings, and it was perfect. So the next thing you will see is me plating this and adding the cornbread and showing you guys just how good it turned out. And I hope you take the opportunity to make this for your family. It is very easy, very quick, and very good. Very, not just good, but delicious. This is the finished beans, and my husband wanted his in a bowl with a side of cornbread, and I put mine on a plate with a side of cornbread as well. And as you can see, the nice chunks of ham and the sausage with a side of my sweet cornbread. And I made that by adding half a cup of self-rising flour, half a stick of butter, and half a cup of brown sugar to store-bought Jiffy mix. And altogether, it was a nice, delicious one-pot meal. Thank you so much for watching my video today. And if you decide to make this recipe, go ahead and leave it in the comments to let me know what you thought of it and how it turned out. And also, if you like what you saw, like and subscribe to my channel. And the recipe turned out so delicious. And then when you add the cornbread in, it was the chef's kiss. It was so good. I didn't have to add any extra seasonings. So thank y'all so much. To all the ones that have already subscribed, I really appreciate it. And I wish y'all the most fantabulous day, week, rest of your month. And thank y'all. And I wish y'all love, peace, and delicious soul food.